Hi and welcome to episode 49 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of This is Reportage and This is Reportage Family, and I'm a photographer too. An absolute pleasure to talk to the fab Kristian Leven today. Kristian is one of the UK's very best documentary wedding photographers and has won 8 Reportage Awards and 5 Story Awards from us, as well as 2 Reportage Family Awards over on our new sister site for family photography, This is Reportage Family. He was also in our top 100 photographers in the world in 2019 and was a judge for us back in our very first collection. He's also just a lovely, lovely guy. Stick with us today to hear Kristian talk about his top tips for documentary coverage, how thoughts about creativity led him into this photographic life, how he's been dealing with these COVID times, the story behind one of his specific Reportage Awards, his street photography adventures, photographing my own sister's wedding, and much, much more. And just before we get on to Kristian, do keep an ear out for next week's show, as it will be our 50th episode. We're going to do something a bit special for it, which will include a giveaway as well, so make sure you tune in for that one. Right, over to Kristian. Hey Kristian, how you doing?
Hello, mate. How are you?
Let's go with the loudest hello.
You told me to keep the microphone to my mouth. Oh, mate.
No, it's good. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Well, yeah, better. It's been it's just been a mental time, hasn't it? Like the last few months. But let's not depress ourselves early on. Let's keep it light.
We can't ignore it though. We can't ignore it.
Let's build ourselves up to it. Let's
Okay, let's go to that later then. Let's start on something lighter then. So I read a quote from your bio on your website that I read. You said, "It's fair to say that apart from my girlfriend and Arsenal, photography is all I ever think about." So I want you to rank those 3 things right now though, and you can't have any equals.
Oh, okay. Well, she's going to listen to this. It's Jess is number 1. Absolutely.
Okay.
1.
Okay.
And then is it between Arsenal? I mean, Arsenal was first in my life. You know, Arsenal have been there since, when I got into football after Euro 96. I was 16.
Uh-huh.
No, I was 14. What am I talking about? It's a tough one. I mean, I don't want 11 men who I don't know ruling, being above...
For photography.
I'm okay, photography next. It's a close one. When Arsenal winning, I think Arsenal are second. But
okay. You never really worried about quality of football then, obviously. It's never been an issue for you. Did a team that's been most local to you or something? Or
yeah, I'm from North London, so this is Arsenal. Arsenal are actually my local team. Actually, Barnet are my local team, but Arsenal are the nearest quality.
Quality, really,
mate? The Wenger years. Well, obviously early on it was quality, and then later on it got a bit shit. But better than who I support anyway. I support Birmingham City. So yeah, you are quite a bit better than us. Quite a bit, mate.
So mate, honestly, it's lovely to be talking to you. Where are you in the world at the moment? As you're saying your delicious words to me.
I'm in Suffolk at the minute. So basically we moved here last year because Jess decided to become a teacher. So she got into Cambridge, she did a PGCE, and we moved to, and her parents live like near Cambridge. So we thought, let's move in with her parents. So we've been here for a year and I've been locked in with them.
Wow. That's, it sounds a bit of a challenge.
Oh dear.
Yeah. How are you finding that? Have you got much space you can escape to?
In a really, I have an acre of land. They live. I mean, this is why I said the internet may be a bit cack because we're out in the sticks. But they've got a lovely house in the country. I've got my own living room where I have my PlayStation set up and a TV. So I can get away from them in the evening if I wanted to, which I do sometimes.
Do you get on with them in general?
Yeah, they're lovely. They're really easygoing. I mean, I couldn't imagine living with my mum, for example. That would just be, that would do my head in. Whereas here, it's been a lot easier. I mean, it was challenging over lockdown because, Jess's dad is high risk. And, there were 1,001 questions every time I left the house about where I was going. And all that sort of stuff. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that was understandable, totally. But before that, it was absolutely fine, really relaxed. And it's closer to London. So, I was living up in Leeds before for like 4 years. So at least
quite a lot closer to London.
Yeah, like, because beforehand I'd have to leave, on a Friday, for a wedding. All my work was still down south. So on a Friday, I would get in the car, make sure I have like my to-do list, and I'd have to make sure I was basically packing for a destination wedding every weekend. And then like traveling down 3 hours, staying
without the sunshine as well. Packing for a destination wedding without the sunshine.
Yeah. Then shoot the wedding on Saturday, then a Sunday drive up again. But now it's like back to where it was. So I'd leave on a Saturday morning and come back Saturday night.
That's nice. Man. That's good. Coincidentally, I'm off to London tomorrow for my second wedding of the year. So we're recording this in October 2020. My second wedding, man, and it's also my penultimate wedding of the year. So my second wedding is also my penultimate wedding. I know we touched on it earlier. We said we'll talk about it later, but yeah, I mean, how's it been for you? Have you shot any kind of COVID smaller weddings or anything? I haven't yet.
To be honest, those are the only two weddings. I've shot 2 weddings this year. My first one was 2 weeks ago, and my last one was a week ago.
Current
2-hour weddings. That was it. So.
Man,
it's been and I've got I've got a late booking for November. That's just booked in. That's another like 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, mate. It's hard when you've got you want to do something that you love, and you want to still be creative. You want to have a purpose, and you're not really given that opportunity to. So I just it's one of those things like for next year. That's just little. That we were able to kind of, shoot next year or do something. I guess this is the time. Like I've been really busy behind the scenes, finding ways that I can still use my skill in a positive kind of way. So I've been doing
What skill?
The dad joke's coming out. So yeah, mate. So I'm doing the family shoots.
Oh yes, cool. So how's that been going?
Yes, really cool. So I put it out then July, and I got 14 bookings, 13 of which were all past couples.
Oh, that's great.
Really nice. So I mean, I've done half of them now, and the other half are going to be they want to do them in spring.
Okay.
And
have you enjoyed doing that? I mean, because you also won 2 Reportage Family Awards on our sister site, man. So I was obviously joking and I was teasing you about your skill. You're obviously a world awesome photographer, man. But yeah, so congrats on those awards. And yeah, and so are you approaching the family stuff in like the similar way that you approach weddings? Still very documentary.
Yeah, totally, completely. And I'm very kind of clear with that beforehand. But I've got a brochure put together with like example images and like a bit more about but the thing is, like, you've already built up that trust with these couples. They know your work. They've hopefully loved the photography that you shot on their wedding, like the ones that have booked me, we've kept in contact. Like one of them was from 2011.
Wow, gosh.
Yeah, like, I mean, my work wasn't great then. I'm like surprised that she's still kept in contact. And
wow, almost a decade ago. Yeah, that's really cool, man. That was that one of your first things?
Yeah, within like so it started in properly in 2010, and then 2011. It was like I looked back at the pictures. Wow.
Do you show any on your portfolio at the moment?
Actually, I've got a best. I'm putting together like a best of the last decade, getting that ready for the end of the year. Because
that's a good idea. Yeah, because there's not going to be many best of just from this year, so that's a really good idea.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about the images, and there are hardly any pre 2015.
Right.
I mean, maybe 3. I'd say the majority of the pictures are actually from definitely from 2017 onwards, the last 3 years. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it just shows how your style develops and how you latch onto a certain, you know, you feel comfortable in a certain way, and maybe in another few years it will change again. But because I think
That's
it's
true.
important to keep things fresh, yeah, by changing every now and again, I think. Not,
Was there?
I guess.
Was that? Do you think was there a specific like turning point around 2017 for you? Something that you did you change your approach or
Yeah,
anything? Or
I did actually. Well, I changed camera systems. I went to Fuji.
okay.
That really changed the way I shot because um, you know, it was electronic viewfinder, so instantly my exposures were bang on, which was great.
Mm.
The had a flip screen, so I was able to really, you know, I'm one of those photographers. I didn't like, you know, bending down and, you know, looking through the viewfinder, looking up. So this way I could bend down, but then not all the way, and I could just look at the back of the screen and flip the screen up and
Yeah.
and you know, and play around with it. It was a playful year, I think, and I felt energized by that. And
Are you still with the Fugees now? Are you?
yeah. But now I'm thinking about maybe do I want to go to Sony?
Oh, it's good, man. It's good.
Yeah, good, really good things. And I guess the main reason for that is because, let's say, the next step is moving towards commercial photography. I really like I've done commercial photography with the Fugees, and I just think you need the full frame for that.
Right. Okay.
And I think like the image quality, like I can get away with, and I don't mind the image quality on the Fugees now. It's raw, and I like that for the kind of style I'm doing. But for commercial work, depending on what commercial, I think you need something a bit more, you know, higher end.
Right. Okay. Cool. Have you done? I've never done, ever any commercial stuff. Have you done some in the past? Yeah.
I've done like for gyms, for that was one of the only ones I've done like inside. Usually I get asked to do like street photography around an area. Like so I did. There's an area in London called Seven Dials, and they wanted. Basically, I spent a day on one of the streets, just doing street photography on that street to sell the area to prospective shop owners, you know, they're trying to sell their retail space. So yeah, that was great. I loved it.
That's right up your street. Right up your street. Do you get that?
So I'm getting paid to do something like another passion, another side of it. That was like a real winner. Then they asked me to come back and do the next street in Seven, because there's like a number of streets in Seven Dials. So yeah, that was really cool.
Cool, man. Yeah, because I was going to talk to you. I was going to ask you about your street work in general as well, because you do loads of it. You've done it for ages, haven't you? You've been published in things all over the world and exhibitions all over. Yeah, tell us a bit about that. You know, how did you get into the street stuff?
It was just a love of traveling, because I think traveling is my first and foremost my passion, and that's actually what got me into photography in the first place. Actually, I remember distinctly being in New Zealand and taking a picture of like this mountains, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know, during the day. And then later on, I took that same picture at sunset. And then it was like the first moment I realized that you can have the same scene, but the light, this dramatic sunset changed the whole scene. It was, and I had the pictures side by side, and I was like, this is interesting. And that was just like a turning point. And then I really wanted to travel more and see the world. And I thought if I had a camera, then that would push me to kind of go to places that weren't necessarily the tourist spots. You know, it would take me into the suburbs. It would take me into like the side streets. And yeah, that's what I did. And it was yeah. And then from there, I realized that I really enjoyed the documentary. I liked the taking pictures of people more than the actual landscape side of it. And that's when I just dove into like the travel photography, which kind of turned into street photography.
It's proper cool, man. Yeah, where have you been? Where have you gone around doing that? Because there's loads of places, isn't it?
Yeah, so I started off in the trip that I did, like 2010. I did the trip around South America. This was just before I started like with the wedding season.
Okay.
So that was like a really good uh, push, like introduction to all of that. So that gave me like a real fire to then do more. And then my next trip was India.
Wow.
And then the trip after that was Bangladesh. And I went to Bangladesh with Maciek Dakovic, who's a really well-respected street photographer. And I did a street photography course with him. But mate, I lucked out big time because now his courses sell out. Like he takes 4 or 5 people. It was just me and him
Oh,
for
wow.
18 days.
18 days. Wow.
Days in Bangladesh. I had one-to-one tuition with him for like the whole time, and we shot every day, morning to night, getting up really early, shooting till it was dark, breaking just for lunch. It was intense, so intense, but I learned so much, and like yeah, and I guess the pictures from that I then published, well, I put on my website, and they went down really well. And from there, it inspired a group of us to start the 8th Street, which is like a collective of street wedding photographers who do street photography. And we went to Paris that October, and then every year we decided to go on another trip together. Then it was Istanbul, it was Berlin. We didn't do much photography in Berlin. We just got wasted, but still fun.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Then we went to Barcelona, and it was just like and we kind of spurred each other to, just inspire one another and take, street pictures and discuss them in the evenings. And it was all part of like the learning process and improving ourselves.
Well, that's great, man. It is really, really cool. Something that I still, haven't done, and I need to get out there and do. And the 8th Street, have you gone away with them this year? Or?
No, well, no. We went to the last trip we did was Day of the Dead in Oaxaca, Mexico,
Cool.
end of last year. And I mean, no trips. I think like we're all a bit like we've done a lot of done a lot of trips together. And I think we need somewhere or something that really, because I think with stuff like this, you got to feel excited. That's like the first and foremost, isn't it? You've got to feel like as if you want to take your camera out. Like I'm not 100% inspired going out in London and taking pictures. I've got friends who do, and they create really interesting work. That's not me. Like I'm a bit more of a traveler. And
would that be one of your big tips for street photography in general, is finding an area or something that inspires you rather than just feeling
absolutely, you've got to, because I've there've been times where I've taken my camera out and I'm walking around. I'm just I guess I'm inspired by location, by the light, by the subject matter, and I guess like when you go traveling, you get all those 3 things, a lot of the time. So you're in a constant state of inspiration and inspirement, and and you just kind of roll with that. And it's also for a really short amount of time. So like I'm doing these trips for, obviously with the 8th Street, it was a few days. And then with, when I do like a little trip by myself, it could be a couple of weeks. And then I'm knackered. Then I come back and I'm exhausted after it. And I don't want to pick a camera up. Like I'm just like mentally I'm spent because I've dedicated so much time to it.
Yeah, bet, man. And 18 days with that one person. I guess the big question is how did that guy put up with you for 18 days?
He found a way, mate. He found a way. He's a really dry Polish guy, and it took me a while to get his sense of humor. A bit like yours, really.
Oh, I love it, man. Let's change tack slightly. Let's change tack, man. Okay, let's go. When you've reached old age, Kristian Leven, and you're looking back at your life, what would you like to think about the life you've led?
Dude, the deep questions.
The deep ones. The deep ones.
do I want to? So, okay, so say it again, mate. Say it again.
Yeah, I know it's quite an odd question, isn't it? Yeah, okay. When you've reached old age and you're looking back at your life, what would you like to think about the life you've led?
I guess I would love to know that I filled my potential, whatever that is. I'd love to look back and think, whatever I did it. Yeah, did it to the very best, and I pushed myself to be the very best at that.
I think that's a really good answer.
That's the thing that really springs to mind. I guess that's my philosophy now, to be honest. Like I just, with anything I kind of do, I'd love to feel as if, nothing's been, no regrets and all that sort of stuff, and potential has been fulfilled.
I think that's a really good answer, man. I think also that's been a real tough time of kind of this Corona time and lockdown is that, one great thing about weddings is that every week we're going out there and we're being the most creative we can possibly be. A real big buzz about that. And we don't have that almost kind of self-challenge week in, week out. That's been a bit difficult, I think.
Yeah, it's been almost like we've had to like self-motivate ourselves in another way. Because it's been so easy. It could be so easy for me to just sit on my couch and play PlayStation all day. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm going to. These are I've set myself goals for. Like I've only recently started doing this, but I'm giving myself monthly goals to do.
Oh, cool. Like
yeah,
what?
just like for this month, do last month it was like blog a real wedding. Blog an SEO article. Post an SEO article.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just stuff like that. And what else was there? I'm trying to remember. Those were like just kind of like work kind of stuff, or like create a few landing pages for venues on my website, and then every week I'd have to make sure that I by the end of the month, I had to make sure I kind of like did that. But that's where it comes to you to kind of to make that happen. And that's our thing with us, being self-employed. Like we are the self-motivators, who motivates the motivator.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah, good stuff to have those goals. And what was it like before I go on to other questions? Actually, you said you did a couple of weddings quite recently. What have they been like? Because I've not done one yet. I've not shot. I know it's not going to be a problem shooting with masks, but it's going to be. Was it strange? with everyone else having masks? Were they small, kind of like registry weddings and things? What were they like?
The first one, I wasn't even allowed into the room. Like it was, I actually wasn't even allowed into the building. It was Hackney Town Hall. And
your reputation precedes you, man. You're not barred from like.
Yeah. So I just got pictures. I didn't even do the getting ready shots because I was like, look, you got me for 2 hours. It's going to be a waste of your time. Me for the getting ready shots, and then I'm sat outside for half an hour. So if those aren't important to you, let me start. Shooting, from the moment you come out of the church and stay with the town hall, and I'll stay with you for a couple of hours. So that's what they did.
Why weren't you allowed in the town hall? Did they already have like 30 people or something?
No. Hackney Town Hall just are really funny. So they only allow 6 people into the room.
Right.
And it's only people, like photography isn't included, I think. It's just people for the wedding.
Right. That's mad.
And then the next one was a church. And that was like 11 people in the church. Right. And everyone had to wear a mask, and the dad had to wear a mask. He was allowed to walk her down the aisle, but he had to wear a mask as well. And I had to wear a mask. And it was really annoying because the mask kept fogging up the back of my screen.
Oh, no.
Like my viewfinder. Like I just kept... Oh man, it was so annoying. Like I just kept wiping the screen, and then in the end, I just had to shoot just by looking at the back of the screen, and rather than having it to my face.
Right. Oh man, yeah. I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, I normally wear glasses as well shooting a wedding, but the times I've been wearing a mask recently, my glasses have been fogging up, so I'm gonna have to wear lenses. That's
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, I'm shooting at, is it Marylebone Town Hall or something?
Yeah.
Is that going to be okay, do you think? They're going to let me in?
I hope so.
Okay, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And then we're doing a shoot at Kew Gardens the day after, which should be fun, I guess. Yeah. So, okay, Kristian, a totally original question here.
Yes,
You're cast away on a desert island. What one album would you take with you?
One album.
One album.
I would. One album.
Everyone's waiting there like on tenterhooks. What's he gonna say?
See, it's so weird. Like, I don't. There's nothing that really. Because I don't really listen to albums anymore. Like, I'm so become into that thing of just listening to single songs.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it?
Into my liked folder on Spotify and just playing that. So that if I could take an album, I mean, if I can cheat and just say, actually no, those songs would really annoy me after a while. But
you could take a compilation album like the Love album or something, something like that.
I mean, yes, if I could, I would just. Can I take my own album? Of my own album of Spotify songs.
Okay, I will allow you in this fictitious scenario. Yeah, I'll allow you. So, Kristian, this is also a quote from your bio. You said, "A decade ago, I was working in an acting agency or agent in central London when I realised I really didn't want to live off other people's creativity. I wanted to be creative myself," which I think is really cool. So, yeah, tell us about that. Tell us your journey into this photography world.
Yeah, so I was working at this acting agency. I had really known actors in there. I mean, British actors.
Cool. Like who? You could drop names.
Yeah, I mean, Timothy Spall, Bill Nye, Mark Strong.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, so it was really cool just like chatting to these guys. Like I was chatting to Mark Strong. Football, he's a big Arsenal supporter and stuff like that, and you kind of get a bit seduced by all this, but then I'm just not hard enough to be an agent. Like I felt like this wasn't me. They're just
is it kind of like getting them gigs and stuff and getting a percentage?
Yeah, but you have to be a real hard ass in it. And like I remember there were just a number of things like there's just fighting for obviously the right pay and having a car and a per diem and credits and like where you are on the credits, and then
really all that kind of stuff. Wow.
All that stuff, like how big the dressing room would be, and then there's this side of it where, like, I remember seeing Pippa, who was the main agent, and she had her head in her hands as I walked in, and I was like, is everything okay? She was like, you know what, it's so sad when you nurture someone's career from drama school for 20 years, and then this is the way they say they don't want to kind of stay with you anymore. And she showed me a letter, and one of the actors basically wrote her a letter and said, I'm leaving and going to another agent. And and you realize that the amount of time you have to put into these, like going to screenings in the evening, like you dedicate your life to this. Right. And I was just like, I don't really want to do this. And also I just thought, no one really likes the agent in the industry. It's a sad fact. And because everyone, you're basically, the actors are the ones with the talent. You're just kind of taking the money from that. And getting your 10%. And I just thought I want to do something. I want to be creative myself. I did study film at uni, and I was like, I'm gonna try photography. And I kind of got a camera. I quit. So I got a bonus, and with the bonus, I kind of bought my first camera, which was a Nikon TX. And I quit the job and I started working at a special educational needs school in Charlton, South East London, as a teaching assistant
Oh, cool. Okay.
for autistic children. And
Oh, wow.
and I did that for a few years whilst I was learning photography, and like with the goal being that I want to be a photographer, but I also want to kind of do something good as well. So so I worked at the school.
And how are you learning the photography side of it? Just sort of through books and internet and stuff?
Yeah,
Or?
through the internet and through practice, just through doing mainly. Also at the school, I was asked to, they needed like pictures for, evidence and stuff like that. And just pictures around the school. And that became like a training ground for me as well, because I would be taking pictures in the school. Obviously, all the pictures had to remain in the school, but it was just that kind of gave me working out, composition and light and different lighting additions and things like that. And then shot my first like weddings. Well, my very first weddings were end of 2009 in winter, but
Man, that's a tough start. Baptism of fire. Well, over a decade ago then, man.
Yeah, but I mean, the business kind of when I set up, I don't really count that because it's like I wasn't sure, but it was like when Kristian Leven photography kind of started, it was like May 2010. I was like, right, I'm gonna kind of do this, and it felt like a good start because there was light. And it was
that's handy. That's handy. What was your very first wedding then? Like, how did you get that very first one back in the end of 2009?
My very first one was July or August 2009, when I took my camera to a friend's, my ex-girlfriend's wedding, and I just took pictures there.
Okay.
And then I posted them on Facebook, and I remember someone, an old uni friend, saying, "I've seen those pictures you posted. If that's what you're producing now, then those are as good as the photographer that I had for my wedding." And I was like, "What?" But I had a few comments, and obviously you get those comments because they sound nice and they're from friends. But it did make me think, maybe I'm onto something here. If this is what I'm producing now, then let's kind of really go for it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And so then, and did you have any experience of doing websites or anything? Did you get someone else to do a website, or did you do that yourself?
Yeah, and I just had like one of those template websites. I can't remember what it was called, like View something. And on that website, I had my sports. I had a sports section, a travel section, a commercial section. Like basically everything I've ever shot was on that website into categories, with a wedding section as well. And then when I shot a few weddings in 2010. I'm trying to think when actually I created just the wedding website. I think it was a purely wedding website. I think it was in 2010. Yeah, I think that's when it all started.
Oh, that's cool, man. And you've just, skyrocketed, done so well, worked so good. And one of your Reportage Awards that always comes to mind when I think of you is the bouncy castle one with the bride like in the perfect center. I love that. It's so good, that symmetry. Can you tell us a bit more about that shot specifically? How you got it, your thought process or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I just followed the bride who was going towards the bouncy castle, and it's one of those things where it's almost on a subconscious level. You just see everything so quickly, and your conscious mind can't even understand what's going on, but you just know you have to shoot. And it's only later on that I saw, the white clouds. It was white bouncy castle, obviously the white bride with her blonde hair, which gave a little pop of color. She was right in the middle, and it just felt it was just all one of those shots that just come together, and you're excited at that time. And I think that's always a really good indicator of a good or great picture, is when you yourself are excited in that moment. And there are a lot of times when I'm doing street photography when I don't even, I know the picture I'm looking for when I come back in the evening, when I go through the pictures. And the same, I don't really do that with weddings because there's just so many pictures to go through. But when I do a street trip or something, I always think about, what was that moment I was really excited? And I kind of go back to see if the picture lived up to it. And I think a part of that is then maybe deconstructing why it kind of worked, because like I said, in the moment you sometimes don't know, but later on you understand, or you're working out why it worked.
It's really interesting. It's really cool what you say about it being kind of instinctive and in the moment, and you almost don't know why you're drawn to photograph it in the way you do. And
that's why I love photography, to be honest, because it's one of the only moments that I'm in that like mindful state. Like I'm not thinking, like I'm a big thinker. I'm thinking about the past. I think too much about the past and the future too much. Whereas in those moments, nothing else exists. It's like, this is it. And it's such a release. It's such a lovely feeling. And I've actually started to do like meditation in the morning as part of my routine. Yeah.
Has that been helping? Is that?
Oh, yeah, really, really has. Like, I have a whole morning routine. We can talk about that later. But
we can talk about it now. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's
What's your routine? What's your morning routine?
Well, I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but it started me off in a really good, positive kind of mindset. So I'll start the day off. Well, I wake up at the same time as Jess, cook her breakfast.
You cook her breakfast?
Well, I cook her porridge. You know, I put porridge in a pan and stir it around.
That counts.
Then she goes off to work, and then I read for like half an hour.
Cool. What do you read?
Well, just at the moment, I'm reading The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's the second time I'm reading it. It's just like stuff like that, like personal development books, which just to help you push. You know, it's one of those things like, if you want to get better at something, then you have to have like some sort of guide or source material or coach or something, and just to kind of help you along. And it's just something I've started doing, and I think it's quite helpful.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And then, oh my God, I used to make fun of people who did yoga, but I do yoga now.
Oh wow, awesome, man. That's cool.
Matt.
Wow.
I know. Big boy now.
What and how? What do you like? Follow kind of like video tutorials or like?
YouTube. So I just started doing it, and I was just like, oh, what are you doing? And then I just thought, okay, let's give this a go. And it's been really good. I think yoga is just a really good stretch. And you're kind of moving your body in positions. You know, we sit down at the desk all day, especially now. I don't really move around. I'm just sitting down on a couch playing PlayStation, watching films. So this is my chance to kind of move my body in and contort my body into positions that it's not used to. For like 20 minutes.
I think that sounds really sensible. I'm so unsupple. I should do it. You know, I can't even touch my ankles. I can't when I'm like standing up. I'm so like unstretchy. I need to do it. Was it hard to get into it first? Or
no, really easy actually, because she does like a 30-day thing, like 30 days of yoga, which you can find it on her YouTube things, like one of the first things that comes up. And I've just been following that. Like she walks you through what you have to do to kind of the steps and all that sort of stuff. And I've just been following that.
What's the name of the person again? Sorry, because I missed it before.
Yeah, Yoga with Adrian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then after that, like I'm in that kind of state, because meditation follows yoga really well, because you're really relaxed after it. And I just do 10 minutes with the Headspace app. It's like a guided meditation. And dude, like you know me, I find it hard to switch off a lot of the time. And so to do those two things, or to have those three things really, like the reading, the yoga, and the meditation, and okay, this is a final thing. And some people, I don't know, they found this got a bit, I don't know, a little bit cringy or something, or a little bit weird. I don't know. Or at least I've thought that when I've said it to them. Some people have been like, yeah, whatever. But I have a journal that I write in.
Cool. Yeah.
I just write 3 things like I'm grateful for, and 3. It's like a gratitude kind of journal. 3 things I'm grateful for, and 3 things I appreciate. And this is all to do with. This is all part of the morning routine, just to kind of get yourself in the right headspace for the day. And like, it's been really helpful for the last few weeks, to be honest. Like the whole lockdown, I've just been so up and down at times, and getting into my own head. And to have a routine, I had to have a set of things to do where I can just afterwards, I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm ready for today, and let's kind of do this. And it's been it's been great, man.
Oh, I think it sounds great, man. Really, honestly, sounds really, really cool. Do you think it's something you'll keep up? Hopefully when all this kind of COVID time is over, do you think you'll keep at least some elements of that in your
So
routine?
I hope so. And I didn't do it like I went out the other night. What was it on Thursday night or Saturday night? I can't remember. Well, both those nights actually. And had a few drinkies. Woke up the next day. I was like, I'm not doing this. And wow, there was a difference in my head. Like,
Was that the lack of meditation though, or the extreme hangover?
It was everything, man. It was everything. It was a lack. Yeah, it was it was everything. It was like lack of sleep, being hungover, and yeah, it all comes together. But it just shows how if you put systems in place, you can you can control your mindset.
This sounds really good advice on it. I think people will find that really interesting as well. Yeah, for me, I like you, man. It's been a real roller coaster for me this whole time as well. I've done a lot more dog walks, which has really helped me just to have long stomps.
Exactly. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Just getting out, and being in the fresh air. Like, I would love a dog just to be able to do that.
Yeah, it has been cool for that. Cool, man. That was great. So I have to ask you about this, because you actually photographed my sister's wedding, one of my many sisters, but you photographed one of them, which was awesome, man. You did a fantastic job, and my sister, loves all of them except for about 240. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, she loves them, man. She thinks you're the most wonderful photographer in person. You did such a good job. And it was fab for me, not to be working and to be able to watch the maestro at work too. I didn't notice you unless I was specifically looking around for you, which I think is testament, So, how was that? Did you feel any extra pressure knowing that a fellow wedding photographer was going to be poring over every single image? No. How was that for you though?
It was cool, mate. Yeah, it was just really relaxed. Like, if anything, like I just I enjoyed showing off a little bit. This is what I can do, mate.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. It was really fun though for me as well to be able to talk to you bits in the day.
Yeah, it was cool, really cool for me. Just like, and I think it's that helps to relax as well, because every now and again you could just have a bit of a chat and and just have a bit of a time out. Because I think that's the thing when you work for yourself and you don't have a second shooter, and you don't have a videographer there who you kind of get on with. You're just there by yourself. Like, I'm not really someone who talks to the guests. Like, I was talking to met up with Matt Tyler, Matt Ebbage recently, and they said like Matt did a wedding with me ages ago, and he was like, you don't really talk much during the day, and I was like, no, I don't. I just I'm not really one to do that. I just want to kind of stay and observe. And Ebbage was like, well, yeah, I just if anyone like catches my eye, I always talk to them. And I was like, really? No, never do that.
It's funny, isn't it? The two different approaches. I'm just like you, totally. After the morning, like hello to the bride and stuff. I don't really start any conversation. If someone talks to me, I'll be polite, but I don't start conversations. But then it is really interesting to hear how other people do it. They're like just talking and being big, almost like the center of the party at times. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just different. Yeah.
And it just that's all part of just style, and your pictures will reflect that as well. And and that's what kind of gets the final product in the end, I think.
Yeah, it's true. So, Kristian, what advice would you give for people? Because people who listen to this podcast are kind of all different varying ranges of just starting out. Although, actually, I hope there's not many people who are just starting. And do you imagine just starting out right now in wedding photography? That would be a weird time to do it, wouldn't it? But there's a whole range of people listening. So, what advice? Do you have any tips for people who maybe have been shooting for quite a few years, who are maybe not so happy with maybe where they are in their career or their images, who feel a bit stale or anything? Do you have any kind of advice for those?
I think you just what am I trying to say here? I guess what I'm trying to say is it's all about staying true to yourself. It's easy to look at everyone else and think, I've got to kind of do this. I've got to shoot in a certain way. That's popular now. I've got to add that to my shooting, the way I shoot. And what helps you in the long run is being yourself and being just putting out there the sort of stuff that you are excited about. That's been my philosophy for years. Only put out the stuff I'm excited about. And if it's a portrait, like I don't really take portraits, but if I'm excited, if I really like this one and I really, was excited about it, I'll share it.
Yeah.
And there's no right, don't be so rigid with what you have to show, what you think you have to be and what you have to show. Like if there's something that, experiment, and don't be afraid to experiment and don't be afraid to show it. Don't care what other people think about it, what your
That's
peers
a big
think.
one. That's a big one, though, isn't it? Yeah. Have you always, been able to be in that good headspace of not know?
No. Like I've definitely thought at times, it's cropped in, not loads, but it's been there at times, and
it's natural though. It's natural.
Yeah, it is natural, and it's kind of like a wave. I think the majority of the time I don't care, and I just kind of realize, align my thoughts with like what's the sort of stuff. What am I enjoying? Like, I don't care, what people think I should be putting out there. It's just like what am I excited about? What am I enjoying? Put that out there, and you will attract that back.
So agree. I think that's really good advice. Really good advice, man. Okay, let's change tack slightly again. You have Kristian Leven. You have 24 hours totally to yourself to do whatever you wish, and money is no object, and the world is back to normal again. What would you do in that?
Oh, mate, I'm terrible at these type of questions. I'm so bad. I always hear people's answers, and I think, oh man, that is so witty. Well, that is so clever.
You don't need to be witty or clever. Just what springs to your mind? What if you had 24 hours? Love to do.
I'd love to finish Spider-Man on the PS4.
Is that good? I've not tried it yet. It's supposed to be really good, isn't it? Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm just like, I just want to finish something that I started. It's just there. I guess. Okay. Well, I would call up people who I've had fallings out with, who I don't talk to anymore. That I had a really good relationship with in the past, and just have a chat. And I would love to kind of end this world with a free conscience, and knowing that, it's whatever was happening in the past is in the past, and let's kind of move on. That would be great. I could do that right now, to be honest.
Oh man, you could. But yeah. That's so lovely. I can't believe it's so lovely that your mind went to that kind of thing. A lot of people, when I ask that question, it's more of a kind of like a life experience or a materialistic type thing. But I think it's lovely that your mind went to that kind of thing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I don't know, man. I think just good times. I'd love to have, go to a Michelin-starred restaurant, have a really fantastic meal with Jess, and I'll take my mum as well. She'd love that. Oh. And just stuff like that, just stuff that you just feel, is just puts you in a really good place. I think that would be great.
Sound good, man. I wish I could just give that to you now, but it's still interesting to hear about what you would want to do. And you mentioned early on in our talk that you're someone who does think about the past and the future quite a lot. So yeah, I mean, just about the future element. Do you think about whether you're going to be doing this job still shooting weddings in like 10 years time?
Yeah, definitely. I thought whether I could, like, do I want to? Stuff like that crops in. Yeah, it's like, would I creatively have that drive to, like, would I want to do something else, another type of photography, something completely different? It's so hard, mate, and like I'm there are times when I think yes, and and like the space I'm in right now is uh, I want to smash the next 10 years. Like I almost like right now I'm feeling that the previous 10 years has just been a starting point to the next 10 years. And this is when I'm going to start producing the work of my career, my life. That's what I like. That's what I'm aiming for right now.
That's cool. That's an exciting kind of way of.
That's it.
That's cool.
It's a lot of it's about reframing your stuff that's happening in a kind of way that motivates you and drives you. And I was looking for that, and so that's what I was talking earlier on about goals. And that's one of my longer term kind of goals. I've set myself stuff for the future, what I'd love to achieve. It's all about thinking how can I fulfill this potential or my ability to the best of my ability. And rather than kind of what I've done in the past, which is focus too much on what I don't want or the negative kind of side of it. It's just kind of flipping that around.
I think that's cool. Yeah, as you say, kind of reframing, and I think that's really cool, man. Really cool, and exciting as well.
Yeah, dude.
And I mean, you're so good, man. As I know you're saying the last 10 years is like the start, and now you've got this. You're going to nail these next 10 years, but you've done so much and so well in this past 10 years, and part of that, you've won 5 story awards from us, which is amazing. It's so hard to win one, let alone 5. You also did a video for us where you spoke about each frame from one of your story awards, which is awesome and available for TIR members to watch. That was ace. Thank you for that. You were also one of our original judges. So what do you and putting you on the spot here, but what do you think makes for great coverage? In general, great storytelling, coming at it from like a multi-award winning story photographer yourself, and the judging angle. What makes for great stories and great coverage?
Oh, mate, I'm really. I need to go to the toilet. Can I go out to this in a sec? You put me on pause and I want to give you a proper answer. I was just thinking, I need a win.
Okay, just don't take the microphone with you. Don't take the microphone with you. Okay. We are having a little toilet break. I am not sure yet whether this bit will stay in the episode or I might edit it out. I do not know. I might even ask Kristian if he's okay with me keeping this bit in. I don't know. But anyway, yes, I will stop talking now and wait for Kristian to get back.
Dude.
Hello. Shall I keep that in the episode with the full 1 minute? Is that?
All right. So it also gave me a chance to think.
So what do you think makes a great coverage? Just great storytelling, coming at it as a multi-award winning, photographer yourself and the judging angle. What makes a good coverage?
So I'd say you've got everyone's got to be clearly defined. Like I almost see it like a film. Like this is the film I'm taking. It's and also like a storyboard. Like, would you be able to know who the main characters are? What's kind of happening purely by looking at the storyboard of images. And that's what I'm thinking about. But the thing is, you've got to do that during the day. So obviously for the story awards, you can just edit it to kind of look like a condensed version of it. But you've got to have the material in the first place. So I'm always looking for great pictures of the couple, a sign of their personality, a sense of location, just interesting light if possible, interesting compositions, and just and then finding a way to kind of construct the story so that anyone would know by looking at these 15, 20 pictures the feel for the day and who the main people were and kind of like what happened.
That's cool. That's great advice, man. That's great advice. And when you come to pick images yourself for the story awards, do you have a kind of a way that you do, or do you just pick kind of like your favorite images, or how do you do that?
Just I mean, sometimes like I try to, I guess sometimes a picture doesn't really work in a set, but you can either try and shoehorn it in, or you just you accept it doesn't really fit the story. I like the ones that I've kind of won have been ones where I think, well, obviously I think the images were really good, but there was it felt like there was a real story element to it, and that's kind of key. And also, it's like, I think you got to see it like an album. Like it's like a successful album has some killer songs on it, and the more successful an album, I think has more killer images on there. If you can kind of translate that to this and have, a successful story will be ones which has some great like hero images but that work really well as part of the story. And but it's like a flow. You got to like, they're going to be like, they're A images and they're B images, and they're going to have okay to have B images in the story, because everything doesn't need to kind of whack you over the head. And you need the lighter kind of pictures to help with the flow of the whole thing. It's a collective. It's the same with like a football team as well. Like you don't need, obviously if you have a number of star players, it's great, but it's the team, it's the whole thing. Everything kind of has to work together, and that's what you need to consider.
I like that. I like the analogy. That's really good. I like it. The analogy of like albums and football. I love that. I think that's very cool, man. Very cool. And how did you find judging? Because you were one of the original judges in our very first collection. Did you enjoy that process? Was it interesting?
Yeah, it was all right.
There was less images then, because it's obviously the first collection.
Oh, yeah. Wow. How many are there now?
Like 12,000 images submitted each time. Yeah, so it's a lot less back then. But I guess it would have been one of the first times you were looking at like multiple stories from other people like together. It must have been quite interesting.
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, I don't know what your system is now, but at the time, it wasn't clearly defined when it was a single image or a story.
Oh, it wasn't so good, right?
Like I'd be clicking through and I'd be like, are these all from the same Oh, it's a story. And then I'd like start again and be like, okay, so I need to see this as a part of a whole. But I think you refined the system.
It has been refined since the start. Yeah, definitely. But yes, but man, it's so cool. Thank you again for that. It was really cool to be one of the original judges, and it really helped shape.
So it's like an honor to be one. Like I was so like, chuffed when you asked me. I actually remember when you, the first time you told me about This Is Reportage, when we were sitting down for dinner, when I went down to Cornwall, and I was just like, man, it's a big undertaking. And part of me thought, do we need another awards kind of thing? But you've just taken it into a level that I don't think anyone really thought, like the whole community side of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude, and like, thank you for that, because it's something original and something different. And finally, there's an awards that doesn't just celebrate the single image, but the story, and I'm really thankful for that.
Oh, thank you, man. That's cool. Thank you for being such a massive part of it right from the beginning. And it's awesome to be talking to you now on the podcast almost 3 years later. It's so cool. Man. It's cool. Okay, Kristian, what is more important to you? Composition, light, or moment?
I would have to go for... Now, I've got to say moment. It's got to be moment, because like without that, you haven't got an interesting picture. Like, because the moment is the story. Without a story, there's no interest in the picture, in my opinion, other than it looking very nice. You got to feel. It's got to be something that makes you feel something. So I'd say you can kind of get away. Like, let's say a picture of the dad. Like this picture I see a lot when I have judged. Obviously the dad seeing the bride for the first time. Now you could have a great composition of a great light, but if the dad isn't crying, there is no picture really. Or like showing some kind of emotion.
Yeah.
But you could have like the dad, crying, but then the light isn't great, but not the composition, but there's still the story to that image. So I'd say, like, for that reason, the moment gets my vote.
That's great. I agree totally. I totally agree. So Kristian, obviously you've won loads of awards, and not just from TIR but other places as well. And I think you're really known as a really, really good documentary photographer. So I think people will be interested in this. And just to put you on the spot again, what would be your top tips to help someone get better at the documentary side specifically? What would be your top tips?
Man, I'd say don't look at street photography. Don't look at wedding photography.
Oh, really? Yeah, you think is that important?
I do. I think it's just because, do you want to copy another wedding photographer, or do you want to have, think outside the box and see what else? There's a world out there. There's a world of photography out there with amazing stuff happening, with such clever ideas. Why would you just limit yourself, your knowledge, to the weddings? So I mean, for me, I guess it came organically because I love photography and I'm really interested in documentary kind of photography. So I bought like I'll just buy photo books from. I mean, the people who really inspired me when I first started were James Nachtwey, Alex Webb. Those were like the two my big influences. There's Konstantin Manos, who I love his light. There's Harry Gruyart, which is a fantastic color photographer. And these are books that you can kind of, get on Amazon or any independent kind of bookshop. They're a bit expensive, but for me it's an investment, and it's or you'll just look at them online. But I'd say study the masters, because and like I also watch a lot of films. That a lot of inspiration comes from that.
That's cool. Well, like romantic comedies and stuff. Or?
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah, I mean, I've got a subscription for Mubi, which is really good. It's like an art house kind of subscription, and it's on that. There's just some stuff with like great cinematography that are that's well worth watching.
Oh, that's cool. Good tip. Cool, man. That's really good advice. That's really good advice. I've always, I should do that more, because I've always just been looking into wedding photography really, right from the beginning. I've always just been, but it inspires me as well though, looking at what other people do.
For sure, man.
But I need to look as well. I should look at different things as well. I really should do.
It's what all you're doing is, it's basically a case of like, have I seen the same stuff with wedding photography? Is it just the same kind of stuff? Do I want to be inspired by something else? Do I want to look at something else? And and so for example, I would look at Alex Webb, like, who was a big influence, as I said, like earlier on, and I would look at his stuff like loads, to the point where my work was basically turning into like Alex Webb's, my street photography, and I was just like, I've exhausted all his kind of photos. I need to see something else now, and that's when I kind of started looking at like Harry Gruyart's work, and yeah, man, it's just like a chance to be inspired from another source.
Makes sense. It does really make sense. Awesome, man. Kristian, I've been talking a long time, so this is going to be the final question, and it's going to be a big one. Okay, so do you eat the canapes?
Oh, I used to.
You used to? Not anymore. Not anymore.
I just felt really wrong doing it, or I had like one too many bad looks from the catering staff that I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to do it anymore.
That's so funny. Yeah, I get that. You do sometimes get those kind of looks, don't you? Or they literally, sometimes the waiter or waitress will like specifically walk away from you. Like,
just totally ignore you.
I hope you ate at my sister's wedding though. You did actually. I remember you.
Oh yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Man, Kristian, thank you for that. That was
Pleasure,
really
man.
fun and really interesting. I think people are going to get a lot from that. It's just so always a pleasure to chat to you, man. It was really fun. Anyone who's maybe sitting down or exercising or doing the dishes, like I do the dishes while I listen to a podcast for some reason. Find it quite nice. If you're doing that now, head to the site thisisreportage.com. I'll include links to Kristian's website and that specific Reportage Award that he spoke about as well. And man, hopefully we get to meet up in the flesh sometime again.
Yes. Oh man, I would love that. It's got to happen soon, please.
When was it? Was it the last time? Was it when we played table tennis in Leeds?
I think so.
I think it was. That's about.
Oh no! It was the This Is Reportage party.
Oh yes. Oh, okay, December. Yeah, and there won't be not a party this year either. Obviously, with these times, which is sad. But next year, man. Yes, next year, and hopefully we'll meet up before December next year as well.
Definitely, man.
Man, thank you so much for your time, dude. See you later.
Take care, man. Bye. Bye.
You've been listening to the 49th episode of the This Is Reportage podcast. I always love chatting to Kristian, such a top guy. Really hope you enjoyed listening. Head to thisisreportage.com where you'll find the Reportage Award that Kristian spoke about on the episode, as well as a link to his website as well. Kristian also did an exclusive video for TIR members where he talks about every single image from one of his story awards, which was so interesting. TIR members, log into your account to check that video out. We have 48 other episodes of the podcast released with photographers such as Darren Kerwin, Andrew Billington, Jill Streefland, The Framers, and many more too. And keep an ear out for next week's 50th episode, as we're going to do a special episode for that with multiple guests, a fun, different format, and a couple of giveaways too. Remember, you can now ask Alexa for the This Is Reportage podcast as well, so it's never been easier to tune in to the latest episode. If you're not yet a member of TIR, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 Reportage Award and 18 Story Award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, over 17 hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, with more videos added regularly, and much more too. We're currently accepting submissions to our final collection of 2020. Submit by 23:59 GMT on 23rd of November 2020. We've also recently launched our sister site for documentary family photography, This Is Reportage Family, which has lots of great benefits too. No poses, nothing staged, this is Reportage. And this is bye for now.